We have Alithia joining us and Purnima. Welcome, Alithia and Purnima. Yes, Trishul, you'd like to say something?
You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, you have to unmute yourself, Trishul.
Yeah, self-love is about taking care of yourself and really means to love yourself.
Of course.
Yeah.
When you say to love yourself, what aspect of self are we talking about?
Self means I understand means to take care of oneself in every way. Means I cannot elaborate it more. I would like to understand more about it.
So we will all hear different things in here. What self-love is for me, what is self-love for Nahid, it will be different. So there's not right or wrong what self-love is, but it is a state of appreciation for oneself.
Shaina, you had something to say? You'd raise your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so yeah, I see self-love as, I think Helen's just said it, but just appreciation for yourself, even the parts you don't necessarily like, so valuing who you are in even the parts that need working on, appreciating them for what they, you know, you might not, you can't be perfect, but still loving yourself despite that. Everybody has flaws, and loving yourself for exactly who you are, the way you are. Really,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Loving yourself for who you are and the way you are. And before we love ourselves, there's another very important aspect of self-love, and that aspect is accepting yourself. As you very well said, Shaina, we all have flaws. None of us are perfect. We are in a journey of making ourselves perfect. But do we ever get there? No, because life evolves and we evolve with life. So when we say self-love, the very first thing is accepting whoever you are and the way you are, in the way you are. What stops us from doing that acceptance?
That's a question. Anyone wants to reflect and share?
I'd say other people's opinions, and what we take a lot of other people's opinions and what they may think, and judge ourselves based on outside views and what we see, you know, in the outside world.
Very well said. What else? Zahira, you'd like to say something?
I think I'm still trying to find my way around Zoom. I apologize. I'm not so sure if I can be clean.
Not
okay.
Not a problem at all.
Okay. Well, I would think what is a huge problem in today's society is this whole filtering, Instagram, social media, cosmetics, that has sort of, in a sense, it's created a perfect society. And in doing so, everyone else compares themselves to the level of perfection that they see in magazines, and they're like, but I don't look like Angelina Jolie. Meanwhile, she's been to her plastic surgeon and her Botox specialist and so forth, and the rest of us are all natural. So we are striving for this sort of ideal, which, to be honest with you, probably might even be filtered in magazines and social media, and that's not the real love.
It isn't.
However, we don't see it as that. What we see is now, and the idea we get is that is what is reality.
So well said.
But it could also be, you know, these people, we don't know. I mean, I don't know Angelina Jolie. I don't know all these people that are out there. If we could ask them, do they love themselves? There are people that might have this appearance outside, that they look perfect, they talk perfect, everything seems to be perfect outside. But that could be our perception, what we think, or what the media is telling us to think. But we don't know, because there could be people that have all these things, but we don't know, do they really love themselves for themselves?
Mm-hmm. Very interesting point Helen has brought out here, because I remember I did this course for few women leaders on imposter syndrome. And this is one thing which we had discussed there about these celebrities, the successful people. It's a research that more than 70% of people suffer from imposter syndrome. All of us do. All of us do. In some aspects, even you may have it. I have it. I know that. And I accept it. Because somewhere or the other, even when we are very successful, and I'm talking about successful people like Meryl Streep, Michelle Obama, Maya Angelou, somewhere or the other, they still had this feeling, this image of themselves, which was quite small than what others perceived them to be. They had this fear, what if people find out my reality? What is their reality? If you don't know what is your reality, you will fear others finding out your reality. Where does all this curtain, these limitations, these boundaries come from? Where does it make us distant from our own self, from our own reality? It is not just about what we see, but what we see and the impact that it has on our way of thinking, on our pattern of thinking. The biggest obstacle to self-love is the way you think about yourself. That is the biggest obstacle in not being able to accept yourself, not being able to love yourself. Self-love is not about appearances. It has got nothing to do with appearances. We perceive it is to do with appearances. But when you are looking at that picture, you are aspiring to become like somebody, to be like somebody, to look like somebody. That's because on a subconscious level, you're comparing yourself with that person, or that image, or that picture, or that image of that perfect life, of success. But where is this seed of comparison coming from? You didn't do it to yourself. You do it today because it has been put in somewhere in your mind, way down your past. It may have been as a child. It may have been as a teenager. But somewhere that seed was put in, that seed where we compare, and it was put in unconsciously with no intention of making you compare yourself with anybody else. But just a simple, small example. When we go back down to our schooling system, our education system, in school, what were we doing? We were competing. What was being told to us? You need to reach or do this to get these grades. Otherwise, you will not be able to get here or there in life, or be successful in life, or do this in life, or become anybody in life. Somewhere it was put into our mind that there is a benchmark, and if I don't reach that benchmark, I'm not good enough. I won't make it successful in life. All this, what we call, influences your thinking patterns, culture, the culture that you come from. It can be your religious culture, it can be your regional culture, it can be your family, it can be anything. It's your family values, the things that you've seen in your family. There is this research which says People usually have this thing that you should tell your child this, you should make, the kind of upbringing that you should give to your child so that they are self-confident, so that they think, better of themselves. But let me tell you this, your children, our children, don't listen to what we say. They listen to what we do.
What they see.
Exactly. They listen to what we do. See, listening is not just about this. Listening is also about this. Listening is also about this. What you feel, what you see, even that is listening. And they are listening to us with their eyes. So we may say that, don't compare yourself to anybody, but they see what we are doing when we compare ourselves to others. And this is what, the family gives us. Unconsciously, without any intentions, we get these beliefs. And more susceptible to getting these beliefs are women. Because somewhere it has always been put into our mind that we are the weaker ones. And we are supposed to be made feel special. We are supposed to be treated in a certain way. We are never taught how to treat ourselves. We are not taught that. How do you need to treat yourself? We are taught how we should expect others to treat us. We let go of that very important education to people, whether it's a girl or a boy, of how you should treat yourself, how important it is for you to respect your own self. Somewhere in that family values, we miss out on this very important value, self-respect.
And if you don't know where that weakness or that is coming from, it's coming from the root. And we have a choice. We have a choice, even if we come from a family in the West, in the East, in the North, or in the South. When we start at an adult age, if we feel, okay, and we hear about self-love, what is that? What is that for me? Where does it come from that I have that feeling that I have to do for others? I have been there. I was doing everything for my children, and that doesn't mean that I shouldn't take care of my children. Of course I should take care of my children, but I forgot about myself. What made me do that? Because I had not really got and searched, Helen, what about you? That took me years, because maybe I had heard something that maybe it's selfish. No, it's not selfish. It's not selfish to love yourself and care for yourself and actually go and look at yourself in the mirror, and tell yourself, oh, you're look at something there, like you would do to your loved one. If you have children, you would tell them how beautiful, or you have beautiful eyes and this. But how often do we tell ourselves?
Such an important question. Do you actually look at yourself with love? Such an important question. When we look at ourselves, we look at what we need to improve. Oh, my eyes, I need to do something about the dark circles. I need to do something about my hair. I need to do something about this. I need to do something about that. We are looking at what we lack. We never see what we have. Because we have to be presentable. We have to be likable. We have to be this. We have to be that. We have set so many expectations on ourselves. When I work with students, when I work with teenagers, young professionals, I'm amazed to see the number of expectations that they have from their own self. And when I ask them that what made you expect these things? I mean, are your parents telling you this? No, they haven't. They picked these up on them all by themselves. And that is because of all the influences which is external. We have gone so much and given so much of our own control to the external factors in our life that there is nothing internal at all. We've stopped listening to our own self. That self which says, you have beautiful eyes. Go in the mirror today and look at your eyes and tell me if any one of you would not find your eyes beautiful. The only problem is you have never looked at your eyes in that ways.
And if you start doing, because it's also a choice we can make every day. And habits, they start somewhere. So if we go in every day and really look at the depth, not just like Nahid said, the circles, but look at the depth of your eyes. What are they telling you? And every day I'm 100% sure that if you go and really look in the mirror, look at your eyes, look at the depth, what are they telling you? Then it will become a habit. And that's how self-love, when you give yourself love, then you will start to create that more love for yourself.
You know, another thing which I would like to point out here is that what makes you see what you don't have? And this is a question which you should ask yourself. What is the inspiration, the motivation, the drive, whatever you want to call it, which makes you keep looking for those things which you don't have? What's the reason? Something which we don't usually think about, perceptions, individual perceptions, how we should be, our own perceived notion about how we should be, how the world expects us to be, perceptions. But where do these perceptions come from? Unconsciously, we've been storing all that we've noticed, we've observed, we've seen, we've heard, we see in movies, we see in the magazines, we hear conversations. The subconscious is storing all of this information. I mean, we have access to more than 137 billion bits of information in a day to the mind. And the mind at any given point of time can only process 137 bits. So rest all, it's all stored here. Unprocessed, not understood. And when all those things, all those information somehow comes up at times, during circumstances, in situations, and when it is not processed, which means it is not being understood, it comes out as a limitation for us, as a block. I can't understand. I can't make sense of it. You can't, because you haven't processed that information. It's still lying there unprocessed inside your storage system. Perceptions. We haven't processed them because we've never questioned them. What we hear, how many times have we questioned? When somebody says something about you, in your work environment, when somebody says something about you, have you ever gone ahead and just questioned this, not to that person, but just sat down and reflected, what made the person say this about me? But most of the times, without asking, we take it on, we take it in, and we take it on ourselves as our reality. We take these individual perceptions and we create our reality. And in all of that, we lose ourselves. And we start, because we've listened to what the other person thinks about me, what the other person says about me, somewhere we lose that belief which we had in ourselves, and we start seeing all that lack in our own self. And none of the abundance can be seen. I'll tell you this, most of the time, when people are given, in a full day, you have 24 hours, you have so many things which happens, your waking hours, 16 hours, whatever you have your waking hours. In those waking hours, so many things happen, right? In those 15, 16 hours, so many things happen. But if you ask somebody, how was your day? What they pick on will be that one negative thing which had happened in that day and say that it was good, but this thing happened. Well, there may have been 10,000 different things which have happened, but that one thing stands out. Because that is the pattern in which your mind is thinking. And when you have that one thing standing out, you start having that guilt. I wish I could have done this better. My day would have been super. Somewhere you keep holding on to that guilt. And that guilt stays in you. And that keeps on adding to your lacks. And in a normal situation, if you would have seen one, when you are laden with guilt, you will see 10. It just magnifies. It just magnifies.
And we can choose the opposite too.
Absolutely.
Of something that is positive, and then that will also make more of that. So we have the choice, but it's just to be aware of our thoughts. Are they our thoughts or someone else's point of view? So again, if we just take that time just to reflect and see, am I taking on somebody else's point of view? And most of the time we do, and we make it our own point. It becomes our reality. So reflect, see, hear, feel, what are they saying? Because then so many more things can come up for you. What are your reflections so far?
Zahira, you'd like to say something? You will need to unmute.
Reflections, like you mean like our own
Of what we have said, what you have heard. Is there something that has?
I think it's quite true and very deep, and I think what it comes from sometimes, as Nahid said, that it's what yes, what your kids see you doing, but also what you saw your family doing. So you could have like an extraordinarily good-looking set of parents, and people compliment them, and they're like, "No, just me. Like I don't know what they see in me." And then suddenly, when you look at yourself and you think to yourself, and someone compliments you, you're like, "No, they just being nice to me." And I don't know, maybe it's like a pattern that sort of follows from generation to generation. I'm not too sure. Maybe it started with my grandma, and I can say probably her parents and so forth. So maybe in that sense, we never feel good enough, even if we are adequate or good enough. And some way, I think that's where this whole comparison comes up, because suddenly the people in the magazines are all so perfect, and everyone on Facebook has got this glamour version of life, and you feel like you're the only person who's living life real, which is not exactly the Facebook version, which is why I'm not on Facebook, because everything's just too dressed up on Facebook. Yeah, I try to keep it real, but I find that even like you find all types of social media it's very difficult to find people who are real, and that's why I sort of got drawn to Nahid's stuff, which by some magical way found its way onto my newsfeed or LinkedIn. Yeah, I think you call it a newsfeed. I tend not to frequent LinkedIn, but that happened to be the first post that I saw the eve that I actually contacted you, Nahid. And I said, wow, here's someone who actually does resonate with my thoughts and my views, and that's what drew me to your lovely, I guess we can call it a workshop this evening.
Thank you.
So thank you very much to both.
Thank you. But when we are open, what you said, if we are willing to receive and just say, have you tried, if somebody says, oh, you look beautiful today. If you just stand there and you say, thank you. If you go out in the nature and you see all these beautiful flowers out there, now in Sweden we have spring, and they just spring up everywhere, and they are beautiful in their own ways, but they receive. So we have been told so often that we should just give, give, give. But if we are willing to receive, thank you. And we don't have to say anything else. Just thank you. Try that and then see what will happen. Because do you tell other people, oh, you are beautiful, or this is something that you like? Do you do it just to, because and the same thing, when we are willing to receive without anything, because most people love to give, but it's just that somewhere many of us have been told we shouldn't receive. But when we start to have this give and take, receive and give, then all of a sudden, and just thank you. See how you feel and really receive from them, because people, when they give you something, they are happy. And if you just say thank you. And so, sorry, Hannah, I heard you were saying something.
Yeah, I'm just reflecting on the way I grew up, and I didn't have a mother who used makeup, and the women around me didn't use makeup and didn't even, like, of course we are interested in how we look, but in a way, I don't know if this is right, but it feels like when we like looking on Facebook and social media, that was something that came to me much later. It wasn't anything in my childhood, and we didn't even have magazines with like celebrities and things, and the people who we think looks very beautiful and successful without knowing if they even feel successful themselves. So I'm just wondering if it's more a symptom that we look at others and think we aren't good enough because others look more beautiful than it is the cause of self-love.
No.
Like, do you get what I mean? Like the feeling of I'm not worthy love is the cause, and then the symptom will be that I compare myself with others.
It can be a symptom for you. See, everybody's, the cause and effect is different for everyone. Okay? See, in your case, where that comparison has come from, once we get inside, we will certainly be able to find that cause. Because right now, from your conscious mind, all you can think of is, what you're hearing, what you're listening, and on that you are thinking. But believe you me when I say this, that when we sit down and we go deep within the causes, you will get it out. And you don't need anybody else to tell it to you. It's right there inside you. Not necessary that everybody can look at the magazine. I didn't have that in my childhood. Coming from where I am, yes, I was always told that I was a very pretty looking child. My mother used to always tell me stories about how I was always the apple of everybody's eyes and this and that. Still, I had that lack of self-belief. And when Helen was right now saying that if somebody appreciated my work, appreciated, when I used to get awards, when I was working in the corporate, and I used to get these trophies, I used to get them home and I used to just keep them. Never ever would I used to feel that I am, I've done something that I'm worthy of. I always used to feel, I don't know how I got this. Now that made me always not receive any kind of appreciation from anybody. So when people used to say, thank you and your work is amazing, I was like, yeah, that's all right. And it was your hard work and it was your efforts. I did not take the appreciation. I did not receive it. And the more I did not receive it, the more I eroded my own self-confidence. And I'm telling you about this is something which happened 10 years back. The more I did that, the more I eroded my own self-confidence. When I was working as a consultant to the government of India, I was like, how did I get this? Maybe they made a mistake. And even when I was there and I was working there and I was, doing things, even then I used to, because in my eyes, my self-image was this small. And when I did my processes, when I did a little bit of understanding of the pattern, and when we went in, the metaphorical representation of myself inside my mind was a little girl. And I'm talking, I was 38 when I did it. At the age of 38, I had the self-image of myself as a little girl. Now, when you have that kind of a self-image, how much are you going to love yourself? Oh, you will, like a child. So what happens is then you compare yourself. Oh, I'm not an expert. I don't know how I did it. And I always used to say this, I don't know how I did it. I just did it. Today I say that with pride because I accept that there is something in me which is extraordinary. But I could not say this without feeling guilty because I used to feel that I am doing self-praise. Now, again, another thing with self-love, which people associate, which is a misconception, and again, it is a perception, is that it is self-praise. And that will make me bring out my ego in relationships, in my work. It'll make me egoistic. It'll make me selfish. It'll make me snobbish. It won't. It will make you kinder. It will make you humble. These perceptions have been put into us. The concept of sharing has gone to such an extent that it is take your own things and give it to others, share. It's like when you have to love others, scrape your own self and give it to others because that's what you're supposed to do. You know, you got to love others at the cost of self. So it's like, you know, you have an empty cup and you're just scraping all the sides so that you give it to the others, because that's what you believe is the right thing to do. You believe this. And when you can't do it, you feel guilty. You feel guilty as a mother, you feel guilty as a businesswoman, you feel guilty as a professional, you feel guilty as a spouse, as a partner, as a friend. It's so difficult to say no. And the moment you say no, you feel guilty. Why
What
did
do you
I say
attract
no?
then?
Exactly. And
The other
sometimes,
day I was telling my son, because we have to model to our children. So he's my youngest. And maybe I forgot that before. And I was actually proud of myself. And I told him, look what I did today. I managed to do this and I managed to do this. And he's like, because if I don't tell him, and I feel very proud of myself. I was able to make an appointment for him. It was for him, which I was serving him, but I just wanted to tell him so he get used to hear. I managed to make an appointment for you tomorrow. That usually takes 3 weeks. Yes, 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 it's a small thing. But if we don't celebrate that, and I actually felt proud of myself for doing a small things like taking an appointment. But if I don't model that as a mother, how is he going to know when he grows up? Because even those things, those are also things that we have to acknowledge ourselves for. Not just the things that if we receive money and this and whatever. No, even the things that we do. If I cook food, does it taste good? Yeah, it tastes really good. Oh, thank you. You know, even those things, because who said that receiving $1 million is different than cooking a great meal? I saw, Hannah, would you put up your hand?
no, she was clapping for you.
Oh,
I was
she
just clapping.
Clapping!
I was celebrating you, Helen.
Yay! I thought, again, before I wouldn't do that. Like Nahid said, for 15 years, I worked for a big company and they were celebrating me. But I didn't. I just thought, I just have to do more. I have to be better and this. Now I don't. Now I'm stopping and I see the small things, and celebrate these things.
Just adding on to this, again, the perception about celebration, which we usually even pass on to our children, is celebrate the things that you do. All right. How about celebrating the learnings? I'll tell you this. I think it was my 2019. I'd gone for my Dubai driving test and I failed. And I came home with chocolates. And I gave it to my son and I said, whoa, mama failed. And he's like, you failed. Why are we celebrating? I said, because I learned 3 things of how to make my driving better. And I am like, I'll pass the next time, but I'll pass even better than I would have passed this time, because I'll be 3 times better. So today he celebrates. It's like when he has his spelling tests and he makes a mistake, he comes to me, Mama, I made 3 mistakes today, so I learned 3 new spellings. See, these things, appreciating our own efforts, we don't do that. We celebrate when we win. We don't celebrate our losses, our mistakes. Those become the guilt. When they are the learning, we take them as a guilt. Again, it's all about the pattern, because we've always seen that the world functions that way. The world functions on appreciating your wins, not your losses. Nobody does that for you. You got to do it for yourself. That is where self-love comes from. That's where it goes deep down. Are you just celebrating your wins? What about your losses? Because your losses gives you learnings. Your mistakes make you 3 times better. So beyond that guilt is where growth is. And another important aspect, which we have seen, again, this is something which is, see, all of these influences that I'm talking about here are all external influences, all right? And these external influences actually go in, and they are the ones which impact our beliefs about ourselves, our beliefs about who we are, what should life be like, what is perfection, what is perception, all of those things. None of this is 100% us. It's more than 80% external, 20% us. When it should be the other way around. It should be 20% more, maybe external, and 80% us. But the pattern is completely external. And that creates an imbalance between my own self-identity and the roles that I'm playing. So I associate my identity with my roles. And to give you an example of this, just go ahead and answer this question. All of you, just answer this question. Who are you? Just take a pen and paper and just write down the answer to this question. Who are you?
And remember, there's no right and wrong.
Shaina, done? Are you thinking?
I've kind of done this before in my own head, and I know that, my name, the fact that I'm female, a daughter, all their labels, they're just labels. I'm literally this person sitting here in front of you guys now. That's it.
Who is this person?
Oh, so yeah, I can't, that's what I get stuck with. I know I'm not the labels and the roles, but who I am is where I get lost.
Honey,
Is it the kind of person I am?
What do you think?
I am the person who likes to care for people and love people and give. I like to give and enjoy. I want to enjoy life, but I don't know if that's, I don't know. I think I'm still a bit confused.
Okay. Trishul, you wanted to say something?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm a good human being. I'm a bit not so confident, but normally I'm confident person, and I'm caring. That's it. That's it. And
That's good.
yeah, the one thing I was just wanted to know. You were telling about somebody appreciates you, you must appreciate yourself. But what if somebody talks negative about you?
Is that
So
truth? What they are saying, is it true?
it's not truth, but somehow it affects our mind. No, we keep on
That is
thinking
what you
about
need
it.
to ask. That is what you need
Okay.
to question. Is it true? Is it true? Is this who I am? And that happens. We usually get carried away by others' words when we don't know our own self. And the answer to this question, as Shaina was saying, that she's still confused. She is
Yeah.
somebody who loves to give, who loves to love people.
Yeah, that is also a question. Like, if I know myself, means if I am right about myself, how to confirm that? Like,
You need to give yourself the validation.
okay,
We
Let me
have,
ask Nahid.
yeah,
Nahid, who are you?
okay. Well, I'm a human being, number one, most important, and I'm really grateful for that. And I'm somebody who loves to sing, who loves to dance, who loves to talk to people, who loves to help people. I'm somebody who gets lost in the books, and I love that time when I have it in my books because that's my fantasy world. It takes me away. I'm somebody who acts on an impulse. If I want to go for, I love traveling. I love to discover and explore new places because that I believe is what life is all about, adventure. So I am an adventurous person, and every single human being on this earth that I meet is an adventure for me. It's about discovering and exploring.
And you know how she says that with conviction? She didn't say she's a mother. Even me, if I say I'm a little bit weird, I always look for something positive, even when I feel really, really, really down. I always do that. I look for something positive, even if I feel down. Some other people might not like that. They say positive, but that's who I am. I'm not going to change that. I can be impatient. Yes, I can be impatient. I'm curious, so it could be maybe both. Some people might make me wrong of that, but that's who I am. I might not be the best mother, but I am just the mother I know how to be. I can't read in a book who I should be because I am just this person. I'm the mother. And I can tell my children, I am not the best mother.
That's because you accept yourself with all your flaws, with all your lacks. Who you are is who you are. It doesn't matter whether somebody believes that it is right or wrong. If you think it is right, because that is your identity. If you are somebody who thinks that you've got a beautiful smile, then whether somebody has ever complimented you on your smile or not, it doesn't matter.
Shall I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
Sometimes when I laugh, comes out like that. And I know, but what can I do? I'm really happy. And it comes out like that. Maybe it doesn't sound, And I know some people that hear it, oh, you snorted. Yes, I did. But, so what? At least I'm happy. And I laughed from my belly. But again, that's what other people, so is there a certain way I should laugh? Then it wouldn't be me. Maybe I always laughed that. I have to ask my father actually, if I smiled like that when I was small too. Maybe I did. I have no idea. So
Why
what
is
comes
it
up?
important? Why is it important to have this clarity about your own self? Why it is important to have this love for your own self without waiting for any validation? Because in life, the roles that you're playing, whether it is of a mother, father, a spouse, or a leader, or a professional, or a business person, whoever it is, all of those roles, they are dependent on your own image that you have of yourself. How you are as a professional, your success will depend on how do you feel about yourself. What do you see yourself as? If you are only identifying with your roles and have lost connection with self, there rises self-doubt, low self-esteem, low self-confidence. How are you going to make decisions then? You're gonna doubt your decisions. And then when you make a mistake, you are not going to be willing to accept it. That's where conflicts rise. And when there is no acceptance for self, will you be willing to accept others? Your mind doesn't know that pattern of acceptance. So when you judge yourself, you judge everybody else because that's the pattern you've set inside your head. That's the pattern your subconscious will follow. So consciously, it will always be following your subconscious patterns. And your subconscious says, judge, because you judge yourself. How can you not judge the other person? You've lost connect with yourself. Why should you have any understanding for anybody else? So where does empathy come from? If you cannot listen to your own self, how much will you be listening to anybody else? You will be probably hearing. There's a vast difference between hearing and listening. But listening starts first within. Let me give you one small example. When your body has low sugar levels, you have this craving to go and eat something sweet. Okay? Happens, right? Sometimes we have these cravings. I want to go and have a chocolate, or I want to have something sweet. Your body gives you these messages because at that time, if you check your insulin levels, you'll see that it's quite low. So your body gives you these signals. And then again, thirst. Sometimes the throat absolutely dries up and you are compelled to get up and go and have a glass of water. Your body gives you these signals. And these signals are triggered by your subconscious because that's where all the motor functions are and all the bodily functions are controlled. How many of us actually don't listen? All of us do. The moment we get some kind of a craving or thirst or anything, we rush, we go, we fulfill that craving, whether it is of a glass of water or a cup of coffee or a chocolate bar or an ice cream or a pizza, whatever. We do. That slice of pizza, that burger, which we love, but we stop ourselves because we don't want to become fat. Why? What makes you do that? Your body is asking for that self-love. It's already there. Your body gives you these messages. These are the cravings. These are the urges that you have. That's your body telling you what it wants to pamper you, to make you feel good at that moment. But we don't listen in because we judge. If I eat this, I'll put on so much of weight. I'll have so much calories. I'll have this, I'll have that. If I go here, we start judging. We don't listen in. So we don't listen to our own self. How good will we be then to listen to anybody else? Whether even if it is our children. Are we actually listening to them or are we just hearing them? Our listening is focused on external, and that is hearing, that isn't listening. Listen to your own self. Go look in the mirror and hear that voice which comes inside you. But look at yourself with love first. And then hear what's coming, because there are these voices inside our head. We all have an internal dialogue. What is that internal dialogue telling you? And if it is criticizing you, then it is being conditioned to do that, because your own unconscious mind, your own being, your own soul, your own spiritual self, whatever you want to call it, loves you. And when you don't listen to it is when you have inner conflicts, is when you have confusion, is when you cannot think straight, is when you have self-doubt, is when you go down that path where you don't trust yourself. You lose the trust on your own decisions. That's where it culminates into a very, very simple and basic thing, self-love. But what it leads into in terms of who you are, in terms of the quality of life that you have, is huge, huge. And to do that, all you need to do is just recognize those patterns, question. We have not been asked, we have not been told, we have not been taught to question. We've always been taught to give answers. Your mind has all the answers if you ask the questions, and no right or wrong, just ask questions. No question is ever wrong. A question is a question. Just ask the question. And every time you get an answer, just ask again, question that answer. If it comes out that you lack this, what makes me think that I lack this? Where is this coming from? Who said that I lack this? If it was not me, then who? And why am I trusting that person so much that I have, diminished my own identity, taken it as my identity, the other person's perception or opinion or view about me? Why is your mind going in that pattern? It has been programmed. All you need to do is just change that. And to start that, just start with questions. Easiest way. Accepting, all right, okay, I understand. I have this belief that I'm not good enough. Where does this belief come from? Who said it for the first time? Go down memory lane. See where you're getting it from. But if you keep on resisting it, if you keep on fighting it, if you keep on turning your head, it will only make it get worse. Now, another very important secret about your subconscious mind or your mind is the thing that you will resist more will persist most. Because what happens when you're resisting? You're giving it your focus. I don't want to think about it. Your mind heard, I want to think about it, because it does not understand any negative words. So the more you say, I don't want this in my life, the more you will have observed those things that you don't want in your life happen in your life more often. Because what you don't want is what you're focusing on. And what you're focusing on, your mind says, all right, delivered, here it is. It brings it into your reality. By default, your actions will be towards exactly those things which you focus. That's how the mind works. Your words, thoughts, and that's what drives your actions. And then when you act is when you get those feelings. So those feelings of guilt, those feelings of inefficient, not good enough, all of those things, it's coming from some thoughts. Those thoughts are coming from some words. All you need to do is just go backtrack. Where are those words coming from? Whose words are those? What made me say that I'm not good enough?
So what do we have here? Thoughts, feelings, what emotions comes up for you?
The only thing that I would like to close this with and put it out for you to give your opinion on. What is that basis of that self-judgment? Whatever you are judging yourself on, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. What is that basis?
Sanya, what are you taking with you?
Sanya is having problems with her internet connection, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Hane,
Hane, what are you taking with you? You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, it feels like I've just a hard time to collect my thoughts, but it was nice to listen, and I feel that this is not new, but you're never done with practicing these things. So it was a lot of good reminders.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both for holding this.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Alethea.
Shaina, you'd like to say something?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Hi, Alethea.
Hello. I just want to say I've just been enjoying the discussion thus far. Just really I guess off of the last statement, I was just thinking about how do we, because sometimes we've been through so much, our brains are really programmed and they're kind of running autopilot. And I was thinking, like, how do we retrain it to serve us versus constantly command us?
There is a process, Alethea, and I do take people through that process because it's very simple. Once you understand, there are a couple of basic points which you need to understand in the programming, which and most importantly, what we call meta programs in NLP are the belief systems and the stimulants which build those belief systems. And your subconscious mind has these answers. So you don't need to consciously think about it. When we take you through that process, that repatterning happens all by itself. So in NLP, the best thing about it is it's a content-free process. I don't need you to tell me anything. Neither do you need to go down that memory lane and relive anything to find out what is the cause. Because it will come out from you in metaphors. It is stored in your subconscious in metaphors. And when you speak to me, you will tell me in metaphorical language where that issue is. And we don't need to, again, go down and discuss anything about that, but just work on that metaphorical level to create a new pattern. And that is how NLP works. And it's a beautiful process because, again, as I say, since it's content-free, you don't live any of those traumas or those memories. You don't have to walk down memory lane. Even if you do, it is on a context, not in a content. So we do sometimes have to do timeline work, and we have to go back in the past to resolve the past, heal the past. But all of that is done without consciously going inside it. So it's done on a metaphorical level. So that's something, Alethea, if you'd like, I can tell you more. We can get on a call and I can explain that to you more. That's very beautifully done in NLP. And it's not just, it's something which doesn't take much time.
Okay, thank you. I would like that.
Sure. I'll get in touch with you.
Shaina.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. This whole hour has been amazing. It's just what I needed at the moment, because self-love is something that I feel like is the biggest thing I'm struggling with. Mm-hmm. Helen knows that. I've done a lot of work with her on just general my mindset journey and the things I've been through in the last years, but the self-love, it's that last little thing I feel like I'm struggling with. But this has been brilliant. But it just is a reminder that, you know, the things that I look at myself for and judge myself for are just, when you realize that if you're looking at yourself like that, that is how you're seeing the world. That really makes you want to change that perception, because I don't want to be looking at people the way I look at myself. And it just really, it's like an extra push to go. Sometimes you look at yourself and if you don't like what you see, you let yourself off for it, or you just think, oh, it's only me, it doesn't matter. But if you're projecting that to other people, that's not what I want to be doing. And I think we need to remember that when we say, you know, not being good enough, or whether we're doing something that is right and other people think is wrong, there is not one person that has come along with this like rule book and said, that is good and that is bad, or that is wrong and that is right. So there is no right or wrong or good or bad. It's just whatever we perceive, and it's just reminding ourselves that over and over again. And just trusting who we are, trusting who we, this is who we are. And if you're a good person, then that's, and you do things from your heart, whatever those things are, then that's probably all that matters. But thank you. It's been really good.
Thank you for sharing, Shayna. You know, it's the more we speak about it, the more awareness we get. And, you know, having these deep conversations, some people, okay, self-love, you know, I hear that from people that I would start to work with. They want to have their business structure and this and whatever. But, you know, what about self-love? You know, some people, they are very highly educated, like, oh, okay, you're talking about the self-love. Okay, fine, that's fine. Even on LinkedIn, I go and say that, but I get messages from people that have all these titles and this and whatever, and they are interested, but they have maybe been told again that we shouldn't speak about it. And even more, I mean, you know, we have one gentleman who came on here out of 9 women. So what does that say? Is it saying that a man shouldn't have self-love?
Yep. The concept of self-love is for women. See, these are what we are talking about. These are what perceptions are all about. This is how that entire pattern of thinking which has been put in, nobody goes to question it. Is it women that we are talking about, or is it humans that we're talking about? Is it individuals that we are talking about? You know, are only women supposed, you know, when we talk of imposter syndrome, it's something which I usually get called to speak with for women leaders. But believe you me when I say this, I've worked with more men who have suffered from imposter syndrome than women. Yeah, because according to the beliefs, men have to be strong. So when you have to be strong and you cannot acknowledge your own feelings, there is a facade which you create for yourself. And then when you go inside, there is a different person altogether who's sensitive, who's emotional, but he cannot show those things outside. So because you have to be strong. You know that famous phrase, men don't cry. Why? They are not humans. They don't have a heart. They don't have emotions. And crying is processing. In our language, when we cry, we are processing emotions. And when we don't, we keep them in, is when those emotions actually become toxic. And that is why so many of those men, they have stress issues. Why do more men have stress issues, heart issues? That's that stress which they have kept inside their heart, which keeps on getting toxic day after day after day. When we process these emotions, whether it's this processing can be a laughter, it can be a cry, a good cry. A good cry makes us feel light. Why? Because all that emotion which we had stored here, all those thoughts, all those feelings are out.
And this is also important for us, you know, being mothers or fathers, because are we going to make that difference between our sons and daughters? So again, it comes back to awareness. I, as a mother of girls and boys, do I not accept both of them, or only when they are small? Are they only allowed to cry then if they fall? Or, you know, you shouldn't cry because you're a strong boy. We have to be aware of these things. We have to be aware of these things. So Trisha, what are you taking with us, leaving with us and taking with you?
Hi. Actually, I was in touch with Nahid before, so I got chance to come back again. It was really refreshing, and I need to work more on myself of being judgmental. So I need to improve a lot on myself, because the way Nahid explains, it looks very simple, that everything is achievable, but when on day-to-day activities we keep on getting stuck with something or other. So it was really refreshing and a lot of reminders. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for your presence.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Nahid.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Trishul. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Zahira, finally, you've been waiting to say.
I firstly would like to thank you both for this lovely evening and this very, very, very important topic. I must be honest with you, it is only during this evening that I realized that I should treat myself like I would someone else. Funny enough, I've just been me as me. I mean, I am me, I do things. I have never ever really sat down and said, these are the things I love about you. So I think that's where I'm going to start. Literally writing down a list of things that I like about myself rather than finding things that I think, but you know what, I could build on this, improve on that, learn this, do that. Stop overthinking things that I have, or maybe I haven't done wrong, but to me it feels like it's wrong. And in a sense, I think, I could have been more, okay, this sounds a bit stupid, but we've got this little kitten that's been abandoned. And last night I got familiar with it, and then I was trying to guide it to this little house that we bought it. And then I felt bad all of last night because I pulled a little bowl away while she was lapping up some milk. But meanwhile, I was trying to guide it to her. So I woke up this morning with the belief that, you know what, I need to go make peace with her. And I think she understands. I need to stop being so harsh with myself.
Yes.
Very true. I think everyone is, in a sense, learning. I know it sounds a bit silly, but it's true. I mean, I don't think humankind really knows how to love completely. We all finding our own ways, and I'm sure that little kitten also understood that I was doing it for her own good. But last night I thought to myself, I hope she doesn't think I don't love her and that sort of thing. And then, it brings up a whole load of other thoughts and stuff like that. So I think I must accept that everything I do that's my best.
Exactly.
It's not someone else's best, but it's my best. Now I'm striving to achieve other people's best as well, which is not a bad thing, but sometimes I think it results in you forgetting about yourself. Well, okay, just a moment.
You are muted, Zahira.
I think she wanted to show us something. Deepa, are you still here?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Deepa.
I got a little late. I got confused between the timelines. So, hi, the talk which I could get hold of course, I was happy that this is being recorded so that I could listen to it after this call. So one thing I loved is everybody is contributing. Like everybody has got different thoughts, especially what Zahira just told right now. You have to stop being harsh on yourself. So that point did strike me. So I am in the process of listing down my priorities. What are my priorities? So right now, not right now, I mean recently, this has been my thought that relationships are my priorities. So that the first one would be the relationship with myself.
Very important.
Then the people around. So because that is my lifeline. So I need to have a good relationship with myself and also the people around me. And self-love is like the fuel that keeps it going. Yes. And this is a very important topic, not very often discussed, but it's good to see people discussing it like this. I have not seen, it is just like earlier, it was said here that people don't come forth and say that this is an important topic. They don't see it as an important topic, but it actually is. Irrespective of whether they are men or women, that self-love, if it is not there, it does show.
Yep.
Because I have seen older people, like really old people, who are still fighting with the after effects of that lack of self-love. You know, when they do not love themselves, they start torturing them and the people around themselves and the people around.
True.
And that's what you mean by toxicity, right? When you do not let the emotions out, or you know.
Yep.
So self-love is such an important topic, and I really appreciate that it is being openly discussed, and we need to deliberately do something towards it. And this is wonderful, Nahid, and a good job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deepa.
Thank you. So thank you, everyone. You see, when we start to bring this to awareness, and like Nahid and I, we work for and with conscious leaders. And this is actually one of the most important core for conscious leaders. And that's what we see to move forward. Conscious leaders, that's not just being a leader, being a conscious leader, being aware, and coming from this, you know, that is the self-love we have for ourselves. When we accept ourselves, we can accept others. So that is a topic that we are talking to others, and there are people, the ones that actually are curious and the ones that are brave enough to face that. Because what do you think? We don't hear about self-love so often. Maybe because it could be what Nahid said before, the culture, the guilt, you know, something that we shouldn't speak about.
The fear of being judged. When you speak about it, you fear being judged weak.
We're going to continue this. We're going to hold our workshops, and more will come out. And the more we open up, the better we will become, and the better we can actually be in the world and stand in our strength. Thank you all for coming.
And before we leave, just like to reiterate that I'm going to send this recording to all of you so that you can, in case if you've missed anything, you can certainly look at it again. And if you would like to connect with any of us, please go ahead. And I believe everybody has our contact details through LinkedIn, because everybody's come through there. Other than that, before we leave, I'd just like to leave you with something. As I just said, you know, there's so much that we take in and we don't get time to process because we are doing so many things at a time, right? Now, just a brief thing that I would like to give you as a takeaway, and something which you can practice in your own given point, anytime. 137 billion bits of information, 137 bits which are processed at any given point of time. Rest everything which is here, that is processed when we usually sleep at night, something which we call rapid eye movement, okay? When that processing is not adequate is when we have mental blocks, when we are feeling confused, when we feel very, very lethargic, drained, physically drained. What I would like all of you to do is just take this technique with you, and anytime you ever hit a block, you ever feel you're feeling heavy, you're feeling you're unable to understand anything, you're feeling anything, just do this, and I'm sure and I can guarantee it's going to make a difference. So all of you, just close your eyes. Just get comfortable, just close your eyes. And just focus on what your eyeballs are doing. Just focus on what your eyeballs are doing. And if any thoughts come to your mind, let them come. Any words come inside you, let them come. If your mind drifts away, let it go. Be in that flow. Just keep that focus on what your eyes are doing. If it's following a thought, let it go. It doesn't matter. You may become aware of some movements in your eyes. Maybe your eyeballs are moving, they're dancing, they're jumping, whatever it is. Let that be. Do not question. Don't judge. Don't try to understand anything. Just be. Yeah, it may be the most funniest of things, most stupidest of things, absolutely unrelated. It doesn't matter. Do not judge. Just be. And let your eyes open by themselves. Don't worry, you're going to be here waiting for you. So let your eyes open when you're ready, when they are ready. Just keep them closed. Because when you do that, your mind processes information. All that unprocessed stuff which is stored in your subconscious, this is when those which are right now in the forefront are going to get processed. And somewhere you might just be able to relate more with whatever we've discussed in the last 1 hour. Somewhere it might just go within your system and start a new pattern of thought. Just keep your eyes closed and let them open when they're ready. Do this as many times in a day, and you will feel that lightness in you, that lightness in your emotions, in your thoughts, in your head, and more focus.
More alert.
More
I
alert,
feel more alert.
less judged.
Thank you, Nahid.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Good night, good evening, and lovely meeting all of you. And please stay connected. Yeah. Bye-bye. Good night. Bye.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Ah, got you both. Thank you so much for a lovely, lovely session. I'm so sorry my family was not aware that I was on the Zoom call.
Not a problem.
It's okay.
But you know, you have really taught me to see myself as a different person rather than just like the way I see myself. So this is going to be a very interesting way to see the world. But I'm sure it's also going to yield different results as well. No more pushing myself like to my max, trying to see how far I can go. If I feel like I want to do it. If I don't want to do it, then do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, stop being a people pleaser, hey? But anyway, thank you so much once again.
Thank you,
Have a lovely
Saira,
day.
for
You too.
speaking up and being you. Continue being you.
Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to have met you both.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure.
Get to meet your life as well. Thank you.
All
Good
right.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.